Welcome back to Expert BA, where we bring you insightful content to help you succeed in the world of business analysis. I'm Randall Whiteman, and today we're delving into the basics of business process modeling and notation, BPMN, a core technique to enhance business operations through visual representation. But hey, before we dive in, if you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe, ring the bell so you never miss out on our expert insights. And remember to ask questions in the comments section. Alright, let's talk BPMN. Let me outline the topics we're going to talk through. We start with history of BPMN, then cover descriptive BPMN elements. Next is levels of BPMN usage, and finally steps to create a BPMN model. BPMN originated in the early 2000s as a response to the increasing complexity of analysing business processes. Back then, different companies had their own ways of representing and managing their processes, which created confusion and inefficiency. A group from the business and IT sectors came together to develop a standardised language, something that could be universally understood. This collaboration resulted in BPMN, a visual representation language specifically designed for business processes. In 2004, BPMN 1 was introduced. This initial version laid the foundation for a common visual language that allowed organisations to map out their processes comprehensively. It provided a set of symbols and conventions to represent tasks, event gateways, and more. This made it easier for everyone in the business world to communicate and understand processes. Over the years, as technology and business practices evolved, so did BPMN. The developers continued refining and expanding the language to address the dynamic needs of different industries. Each new version brought improvements, ensuring that BPMN stayed relevant and adaptable. Today we have BPMN 2, the latest and widely adopted version. It has become the most widely recognised standard for process modelling, embraced by businesses globally. With its standardised symbols and clear syntax, BPMN 2 enables stakeholders to document, analyse, and optimise their processes efficiently. BPMN can be quite overwhelming in the level of detail. To counter this, we can think of using BPMN in terms of 3 levels of complexity. This caters to different needs in each stage of the business process management lifecycle. First up, we have level 1, also known as descriptive modelling. At this level, BPMN is similar to traditional flowchart, capturing the typical order of activities in a process. It's all about documenting the process flow without diving into too much detail. This level is great for business-oriented process mapping and is perfect for simply understanding how things work day to day. We will look into each element of the descriptive level in this video. Then we have level 2, which is analytical modelling. Here, we leverage the full power of BPMN to precisely describe the activity flow, including exception paths that are crucial for key performance indicators. Level 2 models follow BPMN's defined semantics, making them detailed and insightful. These models are not executable, but provide a deep understanding of the business process. And lastly, level 3, also known as executable modelling. At this stage, BPMN becomes more than just a diagram. It transforms into an XML language for executable process design. It's targeted at developers, but as tools evolve, business process analysts and architects will be able to create robust implementations with minimal developer support. BPMN 3 aims to govern executable systems using graphical models rather than traditional code. Whether you're simply mapping out level 1 descriptive processes, analysing for improvements, or diving into level 3 executable designs, BPMN caters for all these scenarios. Now let's dive into each of the elements that make up the descriptive level of BPMN process models. A pool in BPMN stands for a participant in a collaboration, which is essentially an interaction between a process and the external environment, such as another system or entity. A pool is drawn as a container that can hold a single process. If the pool is empty or black box, it signifies an external participant without detailing the internal workings. So a pool gives us a high-level view of who's involved in the collaboration and encapsulates their processes. Next we have lanes. A lane is a subsection within a process, usually representing a specific performer role or organisational unit. It's a way to organise and structure the activities within a process into manageable sections. This makes it easier to understand and manage who performs the activities defined within the process pool. In BPMN, a task is a fundamental building block, an atomic activity with no subparts defined. Tasks represent the work that needs to be done within a process. Within the Level 1 palette of BPMN, we have two types of tasks that serve different purposes: user tasks and service tasks. A user task is associated with activities that require human involvement. It indicates a task that a human needs to do within the system as part of a business process. This could be anything, such as entering a sales order transaction or approving a document. On the other hand, we have service tasks, which are automated and don't require direct human interaction. Service tasks represent activities that a system, application, or some automated process can handle without human intervention. This could be data processing, calculations, or any operation that can be carried out by a computer program. When you encounter a service task in your BPMN diagram, it signals that the process is leveraging automation or some kind of service to get the job done. A subprocess is a compound activity within BPMN, meaning it consists of smaller defined subparts. When visualizing a subprocess in a diagram, it can appear in different ways. It may be collapsed for simplicity, expanded in line to reveal its details, or expanded at a child process level for a hierarchical view. When a subprocess is expanded, it inherits the process or pool of the collapsed subprocess at the parent level. This allows for a structured representation of the relationship between the overall process and its detailed subprocesses. In BPMN, a start event marks the beginning of a process or subprocess. For a top-level process, you might have different triggers indicating how the process starts. A message coming from an external request, a timer scheduled to start at a certain time, or none, which is a manual initiation. Subprocesses always start with a none trigger, implying that they don't have external signals but are initiated as part of the parent process. End events signify the conclusion of a path in a process or subprocess. It's good practice to use a separate end event for each distinct end state you want to capture in your process. An end event might also throw a result signal, which could be a message sent to an external entity, terminate, which aborts a process or subprocess immediately, or none, which is no specific signal. Importantly, in a process or subprocess, all parallel paths must reach an end event to complete normally. It ensures that every part of the process is defined completely. A gateway controls how the flow moves from one activity to another in the process. Without a gateway, all sequence flows out of an activity happen at the same time. There are two main types of gateway. When your process reaches an exclusive gateway, it means there's a choice to be made. In this case, only one of the available paths will be taken based on the outcome of the previous activities. This helps model scenarios where only one path is valid at a time. Then we have the parallel gateway, which creates or joins multiple activity streams. When you encounter a parallel gateway, it signifies that activities following this point can happen simultaneously, or that parallel paths are converging back into a single flow. Sequence flow represents the flow of control from one activity to the next. When the activity at the starting point is finished, it triggers the initiation of the activity at the end point. It's a sequential connection, ensuring that steps are taken one after another in a structured order. Now let's talk about message flow. This is more about collaboration and interaction between different entities or participants, often represented by pools in BPMN. Message flow involves the exchange of messages between these entities. It's a way for different process pools or external entities to communicate with each other. When you see message flow in a BPMN diagram, it indicates the exchange of information requests or responses between different parts of your business process. It's a mechanism for pools to work together seamlessly. A data object is a container for information stored within a process. It represents data at a process level, helping us understand what kind of information is involved in a particular activity. On the other hand, a data store represents external information that a process can access, such as an external database or other storage. It's a way for your process to interact with data outside of its immediate boundaries. Then we have data association. This connector represents data flow. It's an arrow connecting an activity or event to a data object or data store. It shows how data is used within an activity within the process. This helps in understanding the relationship between the activities and the data they work with. A text annotation is a way to add a comment, such as important notes or explanations to your BPMN diagram to provide additional information. These annotations are visible in the diagram, allowing stakeholders to gain insights or clarification without referring to separate documentation. What makes text annotations handy is that they can be linked to specific elements in the diagram using an association connector. By doing this, you can associate the comment directly with the relevant part of the process, making it clear which activity or event the annotation refers to. A link event pair is a concept in BPMN that represents a go-to connection, often used as an off-page connector. This special pair is only allowed in places where a regular sequence flow would be permitted. It serves as a way to link activities or events between different pages or sections of a process diagram. This can be particularly useful when your process is too complex to fit on a single page and you need to maintain a clear and organized representation while indicating the flow between different parts of the process. Now I'll outline the steps to create a BPMN model, providing a clear guide for effective business process visualization and analysis. Begin by clearly defining the scope of your process. What are the start and end points? Understanding the boundaries helps set the stage for the entire model. Next, outline the primary flow of your process, known as the happy path. This is the ideal sequence of events from start to finish. Create a high-level diagram to capture the main steps. Then consider potential exceptions or deviations from the happy path. These could be alternate routes based on specific conditions. Add these exception paths to your diagram to ensure a comprehensive model. Break down complex steps into sub-processes. This involves expanding your diagram to show more detailed steps at a lower child level. This provides a more granular view of your process. And lastly, if your process involves communication with external entities or systems, incorporate intermediate message flows. This step helps illustrate how information is exchanged between different pools or participants in the process. To wrap up, BPMN, established in the early 2000s and now standardized under BPMN 2, serves as the globally recognized language for visually representing and optimizing business processes, from pools and lanes to various elements like tasks, sub-processes, and events. BPMN provides a versatile framework that caters to different levels of complexity in business process management. Thanks again for joining us today on Expert BA. Leave a comment and let me know your experience using BPMN, and if you found this video helpful, share it with your fellow BAs. Until next time, happy modeling.